Hello everybody and welcome to another MX Bikes video, and today boys I'm going to be exposing all of my settings here in MX Bikes. Now it's that time of the year again, okay? At the end of every year I show you guys my settings, and whenever people ask for my settings I just direct them to my 2024 video, which probably a lot of you guys watching this took your settings from. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you liked them, maybe you didn't like them, maybe you're a brand new player and this is your first time watching a video of MX Bikes, you don't know who I am. Hit the sub button first of all. All right, you gotta hit the sub button. I upload videos on this game every single day, almost every day. I try to upload every day. Yeah, I'm decent at it. All right, I raced the Pro Series this year, did pretty good, and I'm gonna be showing you guys my settings that hopefully don't allow you to do that. Also, end of the video, I'm gonna be doing a race, and I'm also gonna be showing you my bike setup for my RMZ 450. So stay tuned, hit the sub with the like button. Let's get right into the settings, boys. All right, so this is what your settings menu is going to look like. We are going to start with input settings. Now, I haven't looked at this stuff in a while, so I don't know how much I'm going to know about some of this stuff, all right? Because there's so many settings in this game, it's easy for me to be like, I don't know what the hell this does. I feel like I've learned a little bit more since last year, so I'll try to explain everything so you know what stuff is. You want to know what the setting is before you change it, all right? You don't want to just look at mine and say, all right, 70% direct lean. No, you want to pay attention and understand what the setting is, okay? It is important. Once you know, you'll never have to learn about it again. We're going to start with controls. So lean I have on my left stick. This is basically the bike and when it turns. So if you want to turn left, I go left on the left stick. Want to turn right, right on the left stick. So then we go to throttle, that's right trigger, which is pretty common. Then we have brake. I have my brake on left trigger. Again, that's pretty common to see throttle and brake, right, left trigger. If you guys ever played like Forza or some racing game, it's usually how it is. So I just keep it simple. Rear brake I have on right bumper. So this button here for brake is my front brake, which I use for basically every corner, most corners. I've been starting to use the rear brake a little bit more. So I don't know. I mean, I used to run combined brakes. I'm not really running those anymore. But I use, right bumper to brake tap, to slide into corners and cut down. It just kind of depends on the situation, whether I use front or rear brake. Obviously, if you want to brake faster, you're going to want to use your front brake. Everyone's taught this. You're taught this when you ride a motorcycle in real life. Very simple. Anyways, clutch, I have that on left bumper, and then this is your rider lean. So you're going to want to kind of follow this. I have obviously forward back bind to my y-axis, and then my left and right bind it to my x-axis. Now, when you bind these, you're going to have to move your stick in the direction that it tells you to, so pay attention to that. If you don't do it, you're going to have this binded in a weird direction to where when you put your thumbstick forward, your rider's going to lean back, or if you move your thumbstick to the left, the rider's going to lean to the right. So make sure that you bind them correctly. A lot of people make that mistake. The next setting is rider lean tracking. I don't know what the hell this is, and I didn't know what it meant last year. So if you remember my last year's settings video, don't know what the hell this means. I have it disabled. I've never used it. I have no idea. Direct lean, I have that at 70%. Now, last year I had it at 100, and recently I had it at 90. I feel like anywhere between 70 and 90, I can run it. I turned it down recently. I'm just trying to experiment with some new stuff. I might honestly switch it back to 90, but I don't really think there's a massive difference. Basically what direct lean is, when your bike is leaned over, let's say you're going through a corner. So you lean over into the corner, you go through it, and then once you're exiting, it's basically how quick the game allows you to get up to center. So if you have it on 0, it's almost like MX Simulator, if you ever played that game, where you were in full control of the leaning of your bike. So when you lean it over in a corner, it's your job to then lift the bike back up when you're exiting the corner. If this is on 100, the game is basically doing it for you, and it's doing it to the maximum. So I run this pretty high. It's a pretty snappy setting, so if you're not very smooth on your thumbsticks, you're gonna struggle a little bit with it being high, but I'm just used to it. So usually run it fairly high for Supercross, and then I'll turn it down for outdoors. But anyway, I'm on 70 right now, used to be on 90. You guys, when you're newer, should probably run something down in like the 30s or 40s, but I'm gonna leave that up to you. You can just copy mine. Combined brakes, I don't run that, but this is kind of the min and max setting there. Now we're gonna get into advanced settings. So there's a lot of stuff here. I'm not gonna go through every single thing on these because it's pretty boring. All right, you can just copy it all, screenshot it. So you got lean, throttle, brake, rear brake, clutch, rider forward back lean, and then rider left right lean. So a lot of that stuff's default. Some of it's changed. I think some of the throttle stuff I've changed, and maybe some of the brake stuff as well, but I think other than that, it's all default. This is force feedback, so this is like vibration and stuff on your controller. I do not have this enabled because I think vibration sort of heightens your chance of making an error while playing, because you know your fingers like vibrating and stuff. And in this game, you want every micro movement to go the way you want it to go. So if you got like rumble turned on or something like that, I personally just don't like it. If you're more of like an arcade style player, you just want to get on this game and just try to run laps and testing, you could turn it on. It's not a big deal. If you want to be a super fast guy and make no mistakes, I think turning it off is a good idea. Now we're going to get into input 2 settings. So gearbox, this is just shifting. I don't really know what preload is, so it's another setting. Don't know what it is. Never used it, never turned it on. I mean, I know what preload means, you know, just as a word. I don't really know what it means as far as gearbox, but I don't know. So basically how I shift is my left and right stick pressing down. So this is not a common way of shifting. A lot of people play claw and they'll shift with their Y and B button. That's just not how I play. I've never played claw, so I shift with the stick. Some people also shift with their paddles if they have a controller with paddles. I've never done that. Always just use the sticks. Now we're gonna get into some of the control. So starter is basically how you start your bike. Now, a lot of the bikes in this game, most of them, like the OEMs, the bikes you guys see me ride in every video, you don't have to start the bike. It's automatically started every time you crash or every time you spawn in, the bike's already started. So you're never gonna have to use this button unless you're using like some weird modded bike that you get off MXP mods that they didn't like configure it correctly, so you have to start it. There's not many bikes like that. So that's really what that button is. You don't need to have it binded. Push bike is super important. So if you get in a spot on an enduro track or maybe even in a race where you're like stuck on the back of a berm or something and you're hitting the gas and you're just wheel spinning, you can't go, you're gonna need to push your bike. So I use the D-pad for this, up and down, pretty simple, but that is a setting you're gonna wanna bind. You're gonna wanna pay attention to that. And you're gonna wanna learn how it works, because if you do get in a messy situation, you gotta get out of it. Now, sit, okay? Now, my sit button is binded to B on my controller, which is circle on PlayStation. Now, I have binded sit to a paddle on the bottom of my controller, which is then binded to this button. So this is basically a paddle on the right side of my controller. That's what that's binded to. Now, I do use auto sit. I'm trying to get off of it. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. I have weird binds. Not a lot of people use the binds that I use. So I used to have this binded to my X button. But again, I used to run auto sit, so this is gonna be more something you probably have to learn from someone else, because I've never really used manual sit. So a lot of people use their right thumbstick for sit, but obviously I use those for shifting. So I've kind of weird settings when it comes to that. But I have it on direct. Basically what that means is when I'm clicking the button down, I'm sitting. When I release it, I'm standing. If you have this off, when you click it and then you release it, you're sitting. Then you have to click it and release it again to stand. So I like having it on direct. Just hold it down when to sit, release it when you're standing. The next control is dab. Now, I don't think dabbing really does much in this game. I have this binded to my keyboard because I don't use it. I don't dab manually. I don't know how you could have enough buttons to do all this stuff and dab manually. But dabbing is basically when you put your foot out and like touch the ground, I'm pretty sure, or just put your foot out in general. I'm pretty sure it's when you touch the ground in like a corner or something. I don't know. It's a setting that I don't even think really works in this game, but it's there. So I've never used it. None of the pro guys use it. So then you have reset and track marker. This is more for like testing if you're trying to hit clips or run hot laps. I have that binded to my start button and my back button. Pretty simple. You want to bind this stuff. You want to use it, especially in testing. And if you're learning, you want to be able to respawn on your track marker. Because if you're like trying to learn a certain section or you're going for hot laps, you want to spawn back at the finish line every time you crash. That's how you do that. Then we'll get into view settings. This is pretty simple. It's just changing your view. Now, when you get into MX bikes, the game automatically has you on the locked first-person view, which is called static view. You want to be on dynamic, so you can see the movement of your riders in first person, which is how I'd recommend playing this game, by the way. Do not play in third person. I'm telling you right now, do not play in third person. A lot of you arcade guys are going to want to play in third person. I'm telling you, do not play MX bikes in third person. Play in first. Make it a simulator. Why the hell would you play in third? Just saying. Don't do it. Don't do it. Anyways, I have that on my D-pad. That's just how you change the camera. I don't do that too much, but sometimes I'll do a video in third person for TikTok or something. It's the only time I'll really change it. Look back. So this is extremely important, all right? When you're getting lapped in this game, which all of you will, okay? It's a harsh reality. You will all get lapped in this game at some point, especially when you're starting, all right? I got lapped when I started. Everyone did, okay? There's so many fast players in this game now. There's going to be a time where you get lapped. And you're going to want to know when the leader's coming. So you want look back binded. I have this binded to the triangle button on my PS4 controller. Yeah, I mean, I use it for a lot of things. You know, when I'm battling someone, I want to know if they're trying to take my inside or something. Just, you know, hit the look back button there for half a second, look back, see where the guy is. It's super useful. You don't really get to do this in real life, but they do have it in the game, so very important. This is heading. So basically what this is how you look left to right, which you can do in first person view. I have this binded to my keyboard. I don't use it. Like, there's some guys that have this binded to some buttons on their controller. I'm not sure which ones. And like on the start, you know, when the gate drops, they'll get out and maybe they got a good jump, so they can't see who's, you know, next to them to the right or left. So they'll bind this to kind of look left and right to see if anyone else got a good jump with them, and then they'll go through the corner. I just don't use this. I mostly use audio to tell where people are left to right. Tear-offs, that is something you're also gonna need. Very important, because your screen is gonna get some dirt on it, all right? It's gonna happen. You can't take this setting off. Like, you can't make it to where no dirt gets on your goggles. They used to be able to do that in the game files, but not anymore. Poboso disabled it. So yeah, you have to use tear-offs. This is gestures. It's like emotes and stuff. I just have this bind on my keyboard. I don't use it. Now we're gonna get into some stuff that I'm not gonna explain too much, because this is just replay camera stuff. Now, I just took them from sort of how I've always used replay cameras in games like MLB The Show or 2K back in the day. I just took like kind of the same binds and applied them to this. If you guys want like specific binds that are really, really good, if you guys wanna make edits or get cool replay shots, there's definitely some guys that make edits that specifically have their own settings that work really good. Mine are just really simple. You can copy it though. They're not bad, but they're just very simple. They're not very, I guess, advanced. And then this is system stuff that I never use. I don't even know what the hell this means. It's not very important. If you use VR, maybe you have to know what this is. Instant replay, I guess, is kind of cool. If you do something in testing and you want to watch it back, just click I on your keyboard and it'll just replay it for you. So I guess that's kind of cool. Now we're getting into graphics settings. Now, this should be tailored for you. Okay, some of you are gonna play this game on a laptop, some of you just got a cheap PC, probably most people, because PCs are freaking expensive, I get it. But this game is not very intensive on your computer, it's more CPU loaded, so if you don't have a very good CPU, maybe this is gonna kind of be a struggle for your computer to run, or your laptop. So I run max settings. I have 1440p monitors, so I run that, run borderless. This stuff I can't even change. I do have VSync on. I'm not sure if that's good to have it on or off. I have no idea. I'm gonna be honest. I just have it on. Anti-aliasing, everything's just all the way up. Literally everything. Track screens, I will explain that just because I do have it off. Basically, some track creators will put like a big, huge billboard or sign that's animated. So it'll be like showing sponsors and like flipping through different scenes, or maybe it's set on a replay camera. The reason I have that off is because it's pretty useless. Like, it doesn't add too much to the vision of a track. It doesn't make the track look super cool. It basically just makes your game be a lot more framey. So I just don't use it. But everything else I have on. I have a good PC, so it works out for me. But probably gonna have to tailor this to what the system that you have is. So now we're gonna get into some more stuff that's just kind of personal preference. Now, I have my master volume on 10 because this game seems to run super loud, and I do make YouTube videos, so I have to tailor it to where it's not too loud for you guys, like you can't hear my voice over the game or something like that. So I have it at 10%, brakes volume's at 50%. Some people hate the volume of brakes in this game. So if you hate the way the brakes sound, that little squeak sound, I'm used to it now. I don't even hear it most of the time. You could turn it to 0 and not even hear the brakes, but I don't know. I have it at 50. I don't really get annoyed by it. It's not a big deal. Onboard aero volume, that's like the wind sound. So I have that on 25. Remote bikes volume, not 100% sure what this means. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe this is what everyone else's bike sounds like next to you. I have it on 50. User interface is kind of like what you hear when I do stuff like this. You can hear that little click. That's what that's for. So yeah, pit environment sounds, I have that off. I don't really know why. I mean, I don't know. It's just the sounds you hear when you're in the pits. I don't know. It's not that important. This is actually fairly important because I'm showing you guys my bike setup at the end of this video. And so you're going to want to use the correct metric system. Now, I use the US system. A lot of guys use the metric system. I don't really know why. You know, what is a kilometer, right? Like, I'm from the US, guys. Come on now. I'm from the US. We use gallons, we use PSI. Like, bro, I don't know what the hell people are doing across the pond in freaking Wales and Belgium or whatever the frick is over there. I don't know. I use the US metrics. Date format, month, day, year. That's what we do here in America. Come on. I don't know what the hell this is. User interface, skip intro, apparently. I don't know what the intro is that they're trying to skip, but I don't use it. Bandwidth, I have on very high. This is basically something to do with your internet and how far away people render in on your screen. Pretty sure that's what it means. That's what I've learned over the time. Now, I have it on very high because I have good internet, and I can see people from across the map, and I want to be able to do that because maybe someone flies over a jump and my, screen catches it, and I can clip it because it's funny. I don't know. I still don't really know what this means, but I have it on very high because why not? This is auto chat. So basically what this is, you can put a message in here, whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. But when you're racing, you can click these binds right here, and it will basically display this in the chat. There is an in-game chat in MX Bikes. So I did an undercover video on, I think it was, James Stewart's bike. So I had some James Stewart sayings in there that I was spamming as I was absolutely Gapplebeezing the lobby and winning by 50 seconds. So you can put whatever you want here. Don't put something super inappropriate, all right? There's a good chance if there is someone in there that owns the server or something, they will get you banned. So don't be stupid. I understand a lot of you are probably younger, okay? Just use your brain, all right? Just be smart. Don't say stupid stuff. Okay, try to be nice to people the best you can. This game is very infuriating, so you're going to understand why I'm telling you to not put inappropriate stuff here, because you're going to want to. Okay, trust me. There's been times where I've said some things that probably would get me banned nowadays, but it was early. It was early on. It was back in 2022, back in the Wild West days. This is to disable chat. Now, I have it disabled because, people say weird stuff. I don't want people to see that in my videos. Help. I don't know what the hell this is. I'm going to be honest. I just have it on. Flags, 3D. Make sure your flags are on, guys. Make sure they're on. Because if you're getting lapped and you get the blue flag, you're going to want to know, okay, there's nothing worse than trying to pass a lapper and they just won't move, okay? It's the worst feeling of all time. And then this is to where you can hide riders' names if you don't like their names displaying over their head, which I feel like this is more for third person, because in third person, if someone's behind you, their name can like display on your screen and like cover the whole screen. It doesn't really happen in first person, but if you're playing third person, I'd probably honestly think about turning these off because you can get distracted pretty easily. Anyway, that's all of those settings. Now, this is some pretty important stuff here, okay? Because people always ask me, what's your field of view? What's your tilt, pitch, all this stuff. They want to know my camera settings. This is them right here. Okay, 123 field of view, 50% tilt, 50% pitch. Basically the same as what I ran last year. I'm pretty sure. I might have been running max FOV last year. I don't 100% remember. Pretty sure I made FOV change middle of the year. Now, a lot of pro guys run 115 or 110. FOV, 90 is like the standard. That's like apparently what is normal. To me, this is way too zoomed in, right? So when I play racing games or shooter games, I usually turn it all the way up. The problem with this, though, is it makes you feel like you're going way faster than you actually are. Another problem is it makes everything to your sides move much quicker, and then things in front of you be a lot further away. So it could make a triple in look impossible, basically. And I had that problem last year where I was getting on the Supercross tracks, and I was seeing these quads or these triples that, to me, looked impossible, because my field of view was warping it and making it look like it was way longer than it actually was. And then a couple laps in, I would hit the line and be like, oh, that was pretty easy. Well, field of view is pretty high. Now, 123 is still pretty high, but I just run it because I like having a high field of view. I think this is a good spot to be in, 123, 125. But if I were to recommend something to you, I would say between 110 and 120 is where you should be. I run 123. I could turn it down to 120. Maybe I will. I don't know. It's just what I'm used to. It's not a big deal to me. But I think running this lower than what I run is probably better, especially if you're newer, because you don't want to feel like you're going a million miles an hour. This is free look. I don't really know what this means, okay? It's another one of the things where I just don't really know. So I'm not going to act like I know. But there's this thing called Track IR that I have enabled. Don't really know what the hell that means. I think it has something to do with corner anticipation. I'm pretty sure, which basically corner anticipation is when you're entering a corner, the game is sending data to like your camera that's telling it where to look. So all the tracks that people make in this game have data on corners and just like the main rider line. So if you're going into a corner, your head is gonna tilt with the corner. It's gonna look through the corner, kind of like real life, right? The problem with this though is it's kind of buggy sometimes, and sometimes your view will just jolt to the left or jolt to the right, and it just kind of gives me motion sickness, to be honest. But I've used it here and there just to kind of test it. You have two different settings. You have look to apex or lean heading. Look to apex is actually taking that track data and looking through corners based off of that. Lean heading is where it's basically looking when you lean. So when you lean the bike to the left, your camera's gonna tilt to the left and look. So you're leaning to the right, it's gonna tilt to the right and look. So that's how that works. You gotta test this stuff though to really know. Don't really know what free look is. I have track IR on though. Pretty sure that's just, you can like look around freely. I don't know if that's like for VR or something. I don't use VR, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay, lock to bike, wanna have that off. Show HUD, that's basically your gear shifting in the bottom right. Now, I'm gonna put a link in the description for Max HUD, which is a mod you need to download like right when you get this game. That's how you can see like my standings on the left side of my screen and then the gears and my speed on the bottom right. You want to have Max HUD. Okay, it's very important. It's very easy to download. I'm gonna put a link in the description to get that from MXP Mods. Everyone has it. Super useful. So I don't need to use my HUD because I have Max HUD. Then we have Show Rider Stand. This is basically an icon down here, a red icon where it's either showing your rider standing or it disappears when you're sitting, I'm pretty sure. I don't really need that because I use direct sit and stand, so it's just when I click the button and when I release it, it's when I sit and stand. So I don't really need to know when that's being engaged because I'm literally engaging it with my finger, so I'm not gonna like forget. Anyway, we're gonna move into external view. This is third person. You can kind of just copy these settings. These are the best looking settings. Now, I've had some third person players that are pro guys tell me that my settings suck and they don't know what the hell I'm doing. People think my camera needs to be higher. I don't really know, man. This is what I run. It looks good. People love the way it looks. I've done a couple third-person videos. I love the way it looks, but I don't think it's the most efficient. But I don't run third-person because you shouldn't run third-person. I guess if you really want to, you can run third-person. But if you want to be a good racer, I feel like third-person is very, very challenging. Next, we have rider aids. These are the things that you can equip to help you, okay? So I'm just going to tell you the things that most people use. Most people use shift help, and most people use automatic clutch. This basically makes it to where when you shift, you can just click the thumbsticks without releasing the gas or anything, right? Basically without pulling the clutch in, releasing the gas, doing what you would do in real life. You don't have to do that with these settings on. So that's what everyone runs. Some people don't run this. They actually use the clutch. They actually let off the gas to shift. I don't know. I just don't do that. Most people don't. It's allowed in pro races. You don't have to use the clutch to shift. You don't have to let off the gas. It's how it is. Okay. These aids are all usable. Okay, now some of them hurt you a lot more than they help you. Assists like lean help or automatic shift, these settings are going to hurt you. Okay, these aids are not gonna help you. They're not gonna make the game, much easier, but they're gonna make you a lot slower. Okay, do not use automatic shift. I'm promising you, don't use it. Okay, do not use it. It's terrible. It is so bad. It doesn't work correctly. It doesn't shift when you're supposed to. It doesn't shift down. That's the biggest problem with it. You go into a corner, it just doesn't shift down. You're in like fourth gear. It's like, what, Pabobo, can I shift down? Nope, it doesn't do it. Lean help, don't do this. Okay, don't do lean help. This is a rinky-dink setting that just doesn't work very well. It's basically just rider leans for you. You don't need this. You don't even have to rider lean in this game, to be honest. I know a friend that didn't even play with rider lean. Like, he came from MX Sim, he only played with front and back rider lean. So if you're coming from Sim and you can only play with front and back rider lean, just bind front and back rider lean and never bind this. But God, please don't use this. It's so bad. But anyway, I use these. You should probably use them. Traction help, don't use it. Brake help, I don't really know. Okay, the first 2,000 hours I played this game, I didn't run brake help. Turned it on last year or maybe earlier this year. Because brakes are weird. I want to make like a whole video about brakes in this game because they've kind of confused me. I think brake help's pretty good. I feel like it almost makes it to where your brakes don't lock up. I'm pretty sure that's what it's for. So that actually helps you a lot. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. I mean, listen, a lot of us pro guys, we're not on the brakes really ever. We're just rolling around everywhere. Roll speed, going fast. We're never really on the brakes. Unless it's a short 180, no one's really using brakes. So It's not like a lifesaver. Like, I could easily turn this off and be fine. But I think I turned it on this year and just left it on. So I got used to it. Don't want to use automatic forward back lean or left right lean. I thought that's what lean help was, but it looks like there's 2 other settings that no one uses. So don't use them, please, God. Automatic right or dab. Again, I talked about dab earlier. Don't really think it does anything. I don't even know why it's in the game. I would need Paboso to like write me a paragraph on what exactly dabbing does or how it exists in this game, because I mean, the only time you're going to dab in this game is probably when you're going 2 miles an hour and you're trying to turn the bike to the left or the right, which never happens ever anyway. So I don't think it's very important. I just have it on automatic because I don't have it binded. So I guess if I need to dab, the game's going to do it for me. Now, this is a setting that I've ran since day one. None of the pro guys run this that I know of. I'm one of the only fast guys in the game that runs automatic sit. Now, I made a video a couple days ago talking about how I'm going to turn it off, and I do plan to. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get comfortable enough on manual sit before Supercross to actually fully turn it off. I'm trying my best. It's been hard, though, because I have spent 4,000 hours of this game playing on auto sit. So, yeah, I don't know. I think this setting does hold you back, but I've also gotten a lot of top 10s in pro races in both Supercross and motocross this year. This is like my first full pro season in this game. I was pretty successful with auto sit, even in motocross. I think it doesn't hinder you that much in Supercross. It hinders you a lot in motocross. But even so, I was still like a top 10 guy in the 450 class. So it does hinder you. If you want to have a full experience in this game and you want to be as fast as you possibly can, do not run this setting. It's a struggle though for me now to turn it off because I've used it for so long. I'm just used to it. I've found the best exploits for this setting. Like I know exactly how to use it. The reason that I like it, and the reason I turned it on in the first place, is because it's consistent. So basically how it works is when you go into a corner and lean the bike over, the game sits automatically. That's literally it. And then when you exit the corner and stand back up, the game just stands you back up. So it's just sitting and standing for you in the corners. That's literally all it does. It doesn't sit you down in the air though. When you lean the bike over in the air, it doesn't sit you down. So however Paboso coded this, he did actually a pretty good job on it. It's one of the aids that I think is honestly not that bad. Okay, especially if you're a newer player, you'd probably like having this on. But if you want to become one of the fastest players in the game, or you want that full sim experience where you have to do everything, obviously you want to have it off. I've always had it on. Unless I fully commit to turning it off, I'm always going to have it on. So that's just how it is. Automatic tire change. This is something I just don't really know what the hell it does. I'm pretty sure what happens is when you go back to the pits, the game automatically changes your tires because when you're in the setup settings, you have to clean your tires manually. But I'm pretty sure when you go back to the pits and then go back on the track, the game just automatically cleans them for you. I'm pretty sure that's what it does. That would make sense for me. But yeah, that's it. And now I'm going to show you guys a race, okay, of me using these settings so you know they're not terrible, because some people still comment saying that I'm like hiding settings or that I'm showing the wrong one so people are worse at the game. If you think I would do that, dude, why do you even watch my videos? Okay, that's the most psychotic thing I've ever heard in my life. This is my settings, all right? Nothing's being hidden. I'm not showing you bad stuff so you do bad. This is what I use, okay? And you get to watch me use it now, so stay tuned. Also, the bike setup at the end of the video, so stay All right, boys, we are here at DDC Miami. This is a free track, so if you guys are a newer player, you guys can go to the MX Bike shop, and you have to make an account, but you can get this track for free. This was the preseason round, and so just want to let all the new players know this is a free Supercross track. It's probably the best track to learn Supercross on because there's tons of line variation, there's no ruts, it's very wide, and it's kind of that bigger scaling that is going to give you more room to practice and kind of make mistakes, but also be successful. So we're going to see how we do here. Yeah, I've been trying to play without auto sit, but I'm turning it back on for this video because that's the setting I've stuck with for my 4,000 hours. So that's the setting I want to present to you guys. Also, I'm just better on auto sit still. So we'll see if I ever turn the setting off. I still haven't really fully committed to it. I want to, but I don't know if my brain wants me to. But we'll see how we do here, and you guys can kind of watch my controller in the bottom left to kind of see what I do in certain situations. And hopefully that maybe helps you guys a little bit if you do copy my settings. Oh my goodness. Start's very important on these tracks. You do not want to get lodged behind people. Oh, Johnny. I don't know if this guy can harness the banana power. I don't think he could there. Made a little bit of a mistake. Hopefully we get a battle here. I don't want to just take the lead and just be gone. Oh, I cased that. This guy's casing stuff. There we go. Alright, out into the lead. And we're gonna see if this guy can keep up with me here. Now, the key to Supercross is consistency. This is something that I think a lot of newer players will struggle with, especially if you don't really know the tracks. That usually helps a lot. I mean, since I know the scaling of this track, it's pretty easy to just consistently get like the rhythms right and stuff like that. But that really is the main thing. I mean, if you can stay consistent like this guy's doing right now, he's hitting all his marks, then if I make a mistake, it doesn't really matter how much faster I am in the corners or anything like that. He can just get around me. I have to find a way to pass him. He's actually riding really good right now. Shout out to Brody. He knows the scaling, that's for sure. I'm gonna take him on the inside here, though. Oh my god, I just got bounced. Did not mean to do that, brother. I am so sorry. Oh my god. Oh god, that was bad. Okay, you don't want to do something like that. That was a little bit mean. Alright, but I didn't mean to do it. I don't know why the Dookie has such weird suspension. It just kind of bounces you when you try to corner like that. So that was on me. Forget that happened. But anyways, he'll probably catch back up. I haven't really played it all today, so I'm a little bit rusty. I'm gonna try to turn it up here though. Try to go a little bit faster. But as you can see, I mean, this is a really good track to learn on and just try to work on stuff. Even I need to still work on some things. Clearly. Oh my god. I do like to take this line. A lot of guys like to step on, step off. Just hitting this, and then I quad here. Singling into corners is something you usually want to avoid doing. This corner you can kind of get away with it because, I mean, even there I still cased that quad and still got it. Now, I am on a 450. A lot of you guys that are newer are probably going to start on the 250, so this track's probably going to be a lot harder for you. These EDC tracks are definitely easier when you have the power to hit things. Now, you do have to have some throttle control because it is easy to overjump some triples and stuff like that, which you obviously don't want to do. So it's still kind of hard on the 450, but I think, yeah, if you're starting on the 250, maybe this track's going to be a little bit more difficult. I think cornering would be probably the hardest thing for newer guys. It's just trying to learn to not get that back end to slide out, and that just comes with practice, man. But the practice has to start with you going slow. I think, and I've had this, you know, advice given to some people, and I had this advice given to me when I started playing. When you start learning MX bikes, don't get into it and try to go as fast as I go, or don't try to go as fast as any of the other like pro guys you might watch on YouTube, or you know, maybe you have a friend that has 1,000 hours. Like, don't try to do that. I promise you this game will not be fun. You have to start slow and smooth. Now that's how I started, and I mean for my first 200-300 hours, I just grinded the stock tracks. Like, I just played the stock tracks over and over and over again until I could get around them without even thinking. Now, I don't really recommend doing that. Like, you don't have to, obviously. Like, you could download this track within your first hour of playing. But that's just kind of what I did. And I just stayed on those stock tracks until I could just beat every single person that I was racing against normally pretty easily. And then obviously I got into sort of trying to race the Pro Series and stuff like that, and so I had to get on those tracks, but that's just kind of where I started. But if you're going to start on the harder tracks, make sure that you're just trying to get around the track. And if that means doubling through sections like this, then do that, you know. Don't try to get on and try to, you know, hit quads or do the big lines or fly through the corners. Like, there's no real reason to do that. It's just going to be frustrating when you don't get it. But I've also seen some people get on this game and just get really fast really quickly. So I don't know. Everyone's different. But this is a hard game. I mean, even at 4,000 hours, I struggle sometimes to get around the track. So Being smooth is the name of the game, especially for Supercross. You can just get around the track, hit all your marks every single time. You don't even have to be super fast in the corners. You will be successful in this game. Especially in pub lobbies or these ranked servers. You really don't have to do anything special. Oh my goodness. I thought that guy's bike was about to come and just absolutely deck me. Now, we do have a guy here in second that is kind of approaching me. The thing is with this track is it's been out for so long, people like have it 100% memorized, especially if they grind these servers. Like they could probably get around this track with their eyes closed, so it does make it a little bit easier since we've all got a ton of laps on it. But I should get this win unless lappers interfere, because I feel like I can get around this track right now and just kind of coast. I don't have to try super hard. But lappers are always kind of the big question mark in the ranked servers. And people tell me, Troy, stop talking about lappers, bro. I have to talk about them. All right, I have to, bro. It is the amount of races that just get absolutely ruined. It's insane. That's why I like ruts, though, on Supercross tracks. So lappers can take one rut, like commit to a rut, and then I can commit to another one. Tracks like this, though, there really is only one line. I mean, you could cut down or stay high in a corner. It's kind of your only two options, though. And you want to hit the big lines, so you don't really want to cut down if you don't need to. Well, we got around him. We got two guys here. I'm going to get to this inside here. That was a good pass. Nice and clean. Get through there. Kind of case the quad a little bit, but didn't like react crazy or anything. I just kind of let the bike do its thing. Suspension usually soaks it up, and I'll show you guys my setup at the end of the video, obviously. That is really smooth. I mean, I love the Suzuki 450. It's not the fastest 450. It's not going to run you the world record lap times. It's just very smooth, though. And as I've said a lot in this video, that's just what I like to be. I like to be smooth. I don't like to crash. And even though I may lose some time per lap, I feel like most of the time I can gain that through the consistency. And that's just kind of what I find fun. And hopefully, eventually, I'll get good enough to be one of the faster guys. Don't want to do that, though. It's probably one of the worst spots to fall because now I lose all the time over that triple. Oh, God. This might be a race, folks. Well, actually, timing and scoring says 9 seconds. It was 4 seconds, so I don't know what happened to him. Probably made a mistake like I did. It's probably back to 4 seconds now. All right, it says 6 seconds. All right, well, one more lap. We do have a lot of lappers, so far from over, boys. Far from over, but if I just hit my marks, we'll be fine. But I do want you guys to let me know in the comments any questions you guys have for like my settings or how I play the game or just really just any questions about the game. I'll try to answer them. I usually don't answer questions too much in my normal videos. Like a lot of people leave questions in the comments that are just, I don't know. I don't have the time to answer them, so I don't answer them. But this video, you can use this spot to ask me questions, and I will try to give you my best answer for whatever it is. So, ask away. This guy's a bit scary. Usually just commit to the inside here, because no one really takes this line. Easiest way to pass lappers. And this triple end's pretty easy to hit. Guess I'll get this quad. Yes, we can. Suzuki, I mean, it gets around this track pretty good. You can still hit the big lines. But there we go. Not my greatest race ever. I wasn't really going super fast, but I haven't been playing really these ranked servers too much recently. So I'm a little bit rusty on the scaling, but there you go. That's me riding with all my settings. All right, some people tell me in the comments, they're like, Troy, you're not giving us the right settings. You're hiding stuff. I don't know why. Bro, if you really think that, you have a mental deficiency, bro. I'm sorry. Like, what are you talking about? All right. I changed nothing between the video, the settings part, and the race part, all right? Everything is here. Everything's the same. So, anyway, we're gonna hop into the setup, and that'll be the video. All right, so everything in red is what was default. Everything in black is what the setup is. So you guys can kind of just screenshot all this. Got this from SPX because I made a video where I compared a good setup to a bad setup, and honestly the difference was, it was there, but it wasn't like super massive. Okay. Anyway, that's setup. Hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys use settings and you get good at the game, and one day you'll be beating me. All right. I'm getting a little bit washed recently, so you're probably gonna beat me soon. Anyways, I'll see you guys next video. Peace.